Good nutrition and feeding practices are key to successful free-range egg farming. It is important for egg production, egg quality, and bird health and welfare. Feed is your most expensive input, about 60% of production cost. Getting your feeding right is critical. Commercial layer hens need a high-quality diet to reach their genetic potential and to ensure their health and well-being. Mixing your own feed is not recommended. It is difficult to get right and isn't economic or feasible on a small scale. Commercial layer feeds are a complete diet and a convenient way to meet hens' needs.
It is very important to have a really good commercially based diet, especially if you're looking for performance out of your birds, and which you would be doing. So it is very important that you do have the right protein, the right energy.
Breed companies know the best nutrient and feed intakes for a bird throughout its cycle. The diet needs to meet these recommendations. Keep in mind that the nutritional needs of free-range hens changes. Weather, exercise, and foraging, along with age, weight, and production levels affect this. It is typical to change diets throughout the laying cycle to match hens' needs. Ensure layers are not over or underfed by consulting a qualified poultry nutritionist. When feeding only one ration to a whole flock, it must provide for the bird with the highest of needs. If not, some hens will be without adequate nutrition. With premixed rations, shell grit is not essential as a source of calcium. It is still useful though for grinding in the bird's crop and gizzard, helping it cope with fibrous grasses. Foraging can provide up to 15% of a bird's diet, but the actual amount of nutrients gained will be unknown and will vary with the seasons. It is important to always have a ration available.
They're not going to get all their requirements from forage. Generally speaking, they get most of their requirements out of their commercially based diet.
A chicken's digestive system is geared towards insects, seeds, and grain. Fibrous material can cause health problems, and long grasses can cause gizzard impaction. Keep pasture short by slashing or by grazing animals on the range area before the hens have access. When it comes to pastures, hens can make best use of high-quality legume forages like clover. Feed consumption will vary. It is important to estimate how much the birds will eat to ensure you don't run out.
Each bird will probably consume anywhere between, say, 115 to 130 grams a day, depending on the environment. So you can actually work out with the number of birds you have to what your weekly usage is. 1 tonne of feed per 1,000 birds per week is rule of thumb on most farms. Certainly would be adjustments to the diet throughout the year, depending on the season. During summer, when consumption is fairly low, you do need a higher protein level, a higher energy level as well.
Keep in mind that feed consumption is not the same as feed used. Spillage, spoilage, and feed consumed by rodents is feed used as opposed to feed consumed. Depending upon the type of ration you use, some feed ingredients can separate, meaning birds may receive an unbalanced diet. Pellet and mash feeds reduce this problem. To not incur big dollar losses, you need to practice good feed management. Poor planning, storage, or handling can be expensive mistakes. The mechanics of feeding are also very important for production, welfare, and biosecurity. Stay in touch with your supplier and order the correct type and quantity of feed before you need it. Even a short period without feed can cause big losses in production.
Generally speaking, most feed people will be in touch with the farmer on a regular basis. It's very important to have that close relationship.
How often you order your feed in depends on your storage capacity and feed transport costs. Ensure you have enough storage to meet your requirements. Feed stored for long periods loses nutritional value and spoils. Don't store for longer than 2 months. Your storage needs to keep out pests and wild birds that can eat or spoil feed and carry disease. Keep feed dry. Damp feed can become moldy and toxic and won't flow through feeders.
Bad storage can make feed go off very quickly. Very good feed storage is necessary. Nice and cool environment is ideal, and you don't want vermin or anything else coming into your feed. Very important to reduce spillage because it's money that you're not going to recover, and your cost of egg production then does go up. But apart from that as well, might encourage vermin to come into your area, especially wild birds. It's one thing you really don't want.
Design feeding systems to prevent wild bird and rodent access. Place feeders inside the shed or under cover, not on the open range, to improve biosecurity. Supply enough feeder space so that all the hens can eat at the same time. With limited feeder space, some birds won't get enough to eat. Keep feed available at all times, as limiting feed can reduce productivity. Place feeders and waterers so the trough is at level of the bird's back. This reduces spillage. If changing feeds, do this gradually.
If you're going from a crumble type diet to a mash diet, then yes, you should shandy that through, so you do get 1 or 2 days with the mixture and then onto the feed that you're changing to. I wouldn't go one from one straight to the other. You will get some feed rejection and you may get a loss in production.
Water is one of the most important nutrients in a bird's diet. As a rule, poultry consume twice as much water as feed. In a laying flock, a shortage of water for just a few hours can result in reduced egg production. Water should be of good quality, both clean and cool.
Water is very important in the diet, and sometimes it is probably overlooked. You need to have the water as cool as possible. If the water is warm or hot, the birds aren't going to consume as much, and you could run into some issues.
Check poultry biosecurity manuals to ensure your water source is not a source of disease. If you require more information about any of the subjects covered here, please be in contact with the New South Wales Department of Primary Industries.